I've spent $100,000 on coaches, seminars, workshops with some of the best brands in the world. And in this video, I'm gonna share everything I've learned so that you can literally just steal it and have it for free. And if you stick around to the very end of today's video, I'm gonna share a little something I like to call hiring a phantom coach. Let's jump in. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. My name's Nicolle. I'm a real estate agent here in Canada. And in this channel, we're breaking down the strategies, tactics that you can use to earn more income in your business, win more of your time back, and live an awesome life. Now, in today's video, we're talking about coaching, and I actually want to start by saying, here's the reasons I hired a coach. Number one, I didn't have good clarity on where I was trying to get to. And number two is I wasn't really sure how to get there. And the third thing is that there's all these shiny objects constantly challenging my ability to focus and look for the right things in business. So if you relate to that, let's jump right in. Here's the first thing I learned. Number one, use the EOS entrepreneurial operating system that's taught in Gino Wickman's book, Traction. When you use this system, it's gonna really help you break down the core things you need to understand, which is number one, knowing what your mission, vision, and values are. Why do you do what you do? Where are you trying to get to? Why does it matter? What are the values that you have along the way? When you ask yourself the questions from that book and you sit down and ask yourself, what's my mission? Why am I here on this earth doing this job, gonna work 9 to 5 or even crazier hours on this business? Why does all this matter? And if I do all the things that I'm saying I'm gonna do, what is my life gonna look like? What's gonna be the outcome? That's the vision. When you start to define all this, it's gonna give you a North Star that you can start to move toward. And without that North Star, you're gonna get sucked into the success trap of just thinking, more money is the goal, or more of your ego being rewarded is the goal. So you want to define that up front. And for me, that's really personal things. Like, what kind of husband do I want to be? What kind of father do I want to be to my little boy Harvey right now and the future kids I'll have? And what kind of man after God's heart do I want to be? Like, what kind of integrity do I want to have? How do I want to live my life? There's all of these intangibles. And when I write down where I'm trying to get to, the financial goals aren't actually as important as all those other goals. But this is going to support the lifestyle of the dreams, vision, exciting thing that I want to do in my life and for the lives of others. So number one, start with that. Get really clear on where it is you're headed. And what a good coach is gonna do is they're just gonna ask you these questions. What's your mission? What's your vision? What are your values? Start right there. The last part of this is understanding that you can't hit a target with a blindfold on. So when you get clear on all that, you're gonna know the target you're aiming at and actually be able to hit it in the first place. Number two is you're gonna break all of this down into annual goals that turn into quarterly rocks, which is January, April, May, June, July, all the way to October. Those are your 4 quarters in the year. And throughout those quarters, you want to be defining the goals based on what your annual goals are, which tie into your mission, vision, values. And then you're gonna have weekly KPIs. These are your key performance indicators. It's how you're gonna measure your success on a weekly basis and make sure that you're keeping on track with everything. And the last thing you're gonna use is an issues list. This is where you're gonna write down the big issues that are holding you back, that are gonna likely inform your other behaviors and actions. So you got your mission, your vision, your values. You turn that into what are we gonna do this year to move toward that? What do I need to do this quarter? How do I measure success on a weekly basis? And what are all the issues that are gonna prevent me from getting toward that goal? If you go ahead and do that, that is literally 90% of what coaching's gonna be all about. It's gonna be accountability for you to do those things. But if you implement a system like that and you hold yourself accountable, you're gonna be making massive leaps towards you being somebody who doesn't necessarily need a coach entirely. Like, that's the biggest thing, is that accountability, having those systems in place. The next big thing a coach is gonna do for you is they're gonna constantly remind you to get back to the basics. Business is all about not forgetting the fundamentals and not thinking you can suddenly outgrow the fundamentals. So for you, we've talked about like how you have your vision, you've got all these values, but at the end of the day, despite the fact that you're making goals, you need to decide what the fundamentals are that you're gonna do on a daily basis and you're not gonna waver from. In real estate, for example, the fundamentals are really simple. Every day, you should be finding, how do I grow my database and get in front of more people? How do I generate more leads? And then the other thing you're gonna make sure you're doing is, how am I fulfilling the promise to my clients to sell houses and make everybody happy, to generate referrals. You do those two things every single day, you're gonna be successful. But what happens is as people get successful, they start to think like, I don't have time to prospect for new clients because we're so busy with business. And then when the cyclical nature of the market changes, they're like, I don't have any more clients because I wasn't prospecting for the last few months. So it's really important that you do those things. Or you get so busy that you're like, I don't really have time to make our client experience amazing because we're doing so many deals, we're so busy. I don't really care if I get the repeat business. Huge mistakes. The biggest thing a coach has taught me is that, Jake, you have to remember to keep doing the fundamentals at all times. Don't lose sight of the basics. For me, having my mission, vision, values really helps me understand what I'm working toward, and then knowing all the way down to the micro nitty gritty of what do I need to do every single day, because I know success is never owned, it's rented, and the rent is due every day. When I know that, what happens is I'm gonna do the things every single day that are gonna make sure I'm on the path towards success. And you know what a coach is gonna remind you too, because they reminded me of this nonstop, was that it only takes a few hours every day. It's like you wanna have a really fit body, an hour a day, 30 minutes a day, and you can be a super fit person. You wanna have a great relationship with God. It's like read scripture every day. You wanna have an amazing marriage, say nice things to your spouse every single day. Have a good conversation with them. You wanna be a good dad, be present every day. Just defining these things of what you're gonna commit to doing every day is gonna help keep you on track. And the number one thing a coach is gonna do, get your North Star in place and then make sure that you know daily what it is you're gonna do to move toward that North Star. Now, once you've decided what matters to you and what you're gonna do daily, the next thing a great coach is gonna teach you, because this is what they taught me, is put it in your calendar. If you don't have a way to sit down each week and make sure that you take the things that you're saying matter and you actually put them into a place in your calendar that you're gonna respect and honor that time, then this is all a pipe dream. It's all wishful thinking. So what I do for myself and for my team here at Nicolle Realty is we sit down every week, we have a one-on-one where we look at our 411s. That's what are the 4 weeks that are leading toward the 1 month that are directed toward the 1 year we're focused on. So this month, what are we gonna accomplish? And then what are we gonna do every week? And then we take those things from each week and we put them into the days of the week to make sure that you're actually prioritizing how you're gonna get all this stuff done. A coach is gonna keep you accountable the way that they've held me to say, Jake, you're saying this thing matters. Show me where it lives in your calendar. We've talked about it being a daily priority. Show me how it's blocked out daily. This is just you breaking down this giant elephant of a big giant thing you're trying to achieve and breaking it down into these little pieces that you can chew on to actually make sense of how you achieve those massive goals. The other biggest thing a coach is gonna do to conclude all of today's education is that they, for me, have always reminded me to have this sense of urgency, that nobody's gonna come and solve this for me and that I am the master of my future. And there's actually a really amazing book that I think you could go read that would really help you in your thinking, because it's helped me tremendously. And it's the book As a Man Thinketh. And in that book, it starts out with this whole philosophy, which summarizes the book. It says, mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind, and evermore he takes the tool of thought, shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys or 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. If you decide what it is you want in life and you focus and think about those things, you're gonna change the trajectory of your life. If you live in a life where you're constantly thinking negative things, you have a negative life. If you live in a life where you're constantly in a state where you're thinking from a place of gratitude, positivity, and an absolute sense of certainty that what you're doing matters, you're gonna live a life of purpose, meaning, fulfillment, and gratitude. So your mind is everything, and a great coach is gonna constantly check in with you and say, how are you doing? What's really going on? What are you thinking about? What are you focusing on? And that's what a great coach is gonna do for you. Having an urgency that your focus and your attention in life matters is what a great coach is gonna help guide you toward, and it's what's made the biggest difference in my life, how I actually think about what's going on around me. Now, I promised that if you stuck around this far into the video, I was gonna share my philosophy, the secret to hiring a phantom coach. Now, this idea came to me listening to guys like Ed Mylett, Patrick Bet-David, guys like Alex Hormozy, guys like Tony Robbins, guys like Warren Buffett, guys like James Allen, who aren't even around anymore. And here's the lesson that I want to impart to you, because it's made a massive difference for me, which is Just imagine someone you really admire. Think of that person right now. Think of someone that you aspire to sit in a room with to give you advice or to coach you and mentor you. Now, close your eyes and ask yourself what that person would say about a situation. That's your phantom coach. It's amazing how if I close my eyes and I ask myself, like the what would Jesus do type of philosophy of what would Alex Hormozy say about this business strategy, or what would Tony Robbins tell me to do in this situation? If you've consumed enough content from these people that you aspire to be around, which you likely have, you can almost imagine their voice telling you what you should do. And the reason this is so profound is that oftentimes we will travel around the world to go to a conference or to go somewhere crazy or spend all this money to meet someone, to have them tell us something that we could have imagined they would have told us anyway. And the thing is, a lot of what we imagine our phantom coaches telling us is stuff that we know we need to do anyway. And the reality is this: nobody knows you better than you. And because that's true, you can probably take an imaginary conversation with someone and have more power applying it to your life because you know you better than they even do. But you can use all of the advice you've heard them share, all the wisdom, and apply that to what you would imagine they would say to you and probably be spot on. So I use this philosophy all the time. Here's how you can apply this. Put a time in your calendar where you ask 1 to 5 mentors what their advice would be for you this week. And if you do that, you're gonna be blown away at the insights that come to you. It'll be like you're summoning their wisdom straight from the source itself, and you're gonna be amazed at how it works. So it's a huge secret. I highly encourage you, regardless of whether you're gonna use the phantom coach methodology or you're just gonna set up a time in your calendar to ask yourself what matters, put it in your calendar, be your own coach today. It's the biggest piece of advice that I can give from my time spending $100,000 on coaching. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, we have $1 million worth of coaching right here in this playlist, which is all of the agent education that we could possibly give you guys. And the reason I say that is in the first 2 years of my business, I've done over $1.5 million in gross commission income, and it's all applying just a few really simple principles repeatedly and consistently that you can use in your business today. And I'll even share a couple secrets along the way. So go check out this playlist. I hope you guys absolutely love it. Thanks for tuning into the video, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Cheers.